Quite a few years, probably 5, I don't know.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah, 9, 10, 10 years. And that's the last time I've seen Sean. So it's been a while, so it's great. And then I just saw him in the green room, and it was like we were just waiting to put on our makeup and go and destroy that ring again.
I'd already put mine on in the hotel.
This could be tough for everybody, Sean. We've got two battling, very strong accents that I love and are amazing here, and then we've just got our very boring flat accents. Sure. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love to hear you guys. It's interesting. I'd love to start off just by talking about how you all got into the profession, because I know you both started studying it at both the Royal Academy in Scotland and then Rada, the Royal Academy in London. And Sean, oh my gosh, you started right out
the Royal Academy in Los Angeles.
Yeah. It's a whole
Royal
different
Pace in
system.
Los Angeles. Yeah, no, active parents. That's why I was nepotism.
But it's interesting. I mean, I love it. So Sean, I mean, if you want to kick things off, I'd love to hear sort of your early beginnings and start that kind of led to your early roles as a child, and then ultimately our favorite Goonies. But we'll
Back in the early 1980s, there was a production of the motion picture Steven Spielberg film called The Goonies. And at that time, anyhow, my mom is Patty Duke. You guys remember Patty Duke? So she had done her had a hit show in the 60s, and then she had me in the 70s, and then somehow I got to start working in the 80s.
How was that? Had you done anything before Goonies? Was there kind of a couple of projects right beforehand that then led to that? What was that audition like?
The first thing I ever did, I was in the 5th grade, and my mother, I remember it really well. We had the garage, and there's this old motorcycle in our garage that fell over all the time and hurt people. But I don't know that anybody actually rode that motorcycle. But I was standing right next to it, and she said, "Would you want to be in a television show with me?" And I said, "Would I get paid?" She said, "Yeah, they would pay you $10,000, but you can't have the money until you're 18. But I'm patient. I said, "Okay, that's a long delay. I can go for that." And I said, "Would I have to go to school?" She said, "You would have there would be a tutor, and you'd have to do 3 hours of work and of schoolwork on the set." And I said, "Okay. Well, then yes, I'll do it." So she said, "Okay, well, you have to audition for it." And the part was of an abusive mother and her abused child. The title was, it's subtle, "Please Don't Hit Me, Mom." It was when ABC was doing these after-school specials.
Yeah,
Each week was a different issue, drugs or teen pregnancy or whatever. This was the abuse week, and so my mother, who was a very famous bipolar sufferer, wrote books on the topic and became kind of a national figure talking about mental health advocacy, that kind of stuff. Anyhow, so she's beating the hell out of me in this audition, and I'm responding appropriately, and I got the part, and so I did school on set, got $10,000, and started in acting. And there was the one moment was actually what I consider the first true acting lesson, even though it wasn't a kind of formal thing. There was a scene on the set where she's supposed to be. It was an abuse scene, and I was laughing. I was nervous every time she would make the hit me. I would start chuckling. And on those productions, there's not a lot of time, not a lot of retakes. It's sort of like 2 takes and you're out of there. And they were starting to get worried that they weren't going to sort of get it. And my mom took me off to the side and she said, "I took a chance on you. This is my career. What are you doing?" And I was terrified. I started crying. She's like, "Rolling." So we shoot it, and afterward, and I'm crying, and they say, "Cut," and the director's like this, and she's like, "Honey, that's acting."
She was your acting coach. This is the Royal Academy of Los Angeles. That's how it works. Sean, you started more in theater, and correct me if I'm wrong, studying that stuff, and actually played a lot of classical roles and were in classical theater before heading into TV and film. Is that right? I'd love to hear sort of your story, brief story on that.
I guess before I went to RADA in London, I started off in kind of Rotherham, in South Yorkshire, in Sheffield, and that's where I kind of started. You know, I went onto this acting course that was, I wanted to be an artist, you know, something I'm always quite interested in. The acting seemed to be a little bit more interesting because I couldn't really do anything. I was a jack of all trades, master of none, and acting looked like something I could do, and I found myself very comfortable. And then I got into RADA and did a lot of stuff there. 2.5 years, and then went into theatre really. I did a lot of theatre for probably 5 years, into a lot of Shakespeare company and various touring companies and television, but it was just a bonus. I mean, you guys feel that. I mean, when you get a job acting, you know that's a hell of a kind of fulfillment, and you feel very proud and very happy. And the other things are kind of the icing on the cake once you start getting to television and especially films. So,
yeah, with the way you say that, you know, it's the early stuff that makes you feel good, and then really, you know,
yeah,
moves you,
just,
and then
just
you know,
to
the
act,
stuff is,
you know, to act and get in a repertory company in England, and it's such a joy, and it's exciting, and that's just that feeling of acting.
Yeah,
it's that
yeah.
buzz of the adrenaline.
yeah, I can feel it from your energy right now.
Yeah.
Billy, same similar kind of thing?
Yeah, very similar. Same thing, 3 years at the academy, and then started working in theatre and repertory theatre. And so you'd be doing a play at night and rehearsing another one during the day. You know, and we were killed to have an audience this size. It was theatres about this size, but with 4 people and a dog. Doing your Chekhov. Yeah, and then, you know, doing little bits of TV and little films and things.
Yeah.
And then Lord of the Rings.
Just a minor flick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good right along the way.
But even when that, I mean, it really was when that came out, no one thought it was going to be a huge film, you know. I mean, we went to New Zealand, but it really could have went straight to, you know, video at that time, DVD, you know.
Well, it was a risk. I mean, there was a huge, obviously, fan base for the books themselves. But yeah, here was at the time, unknown director, right, taking a bunch of actors to New Zealand, you know, not shooting in America, not shooting in Hollywood, and doing this very location-specific piece. You know what I mean? And how is that going to translate?
And fantasy movies went big, you know. There'll be a couple that kind of shone out, you know, the Black Crystal, etc. But they weren't big, you know.
No, and then this Lord of the Rings ultimately kicked off, you know, what became then a huge enterprise into that genre. Had you all been familiar with the piece before you got involved with it, you know, in terms of the books themselves, or J.R.R. Tolkien as a writer? Yeah, anybody.
Well, I'd read it, you know, when I think I was probably quite old when I read it, you know, 19, 20, and I kind of then, I tried to read it. I didn't get very far the first time, because it's quite a hard read, I mean, you know,
yeah,
obviously it's quite a hard read, and then I tried it again, I got through it, and you know, I loved it, and then I didn't think anything of it, and it came off, and I thought, wow, is this for real, you know? It didn't seem like it was real, did it?
Yeah, it was kind of weird, yeah.
It's called a jamboree, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
And we got a script that says a jamboree, and we're in New Zealand. What's this about? Scouts? I thought it was about Lord of the Rings.
That was the working title of the script? Was
No, that was the fake script cover that they put on top. So if you're in a coffee shop and you're reading it and anybody looks over your shoulder, they think you're working on a production called Jamboree. So you open it up and know it's this other little world that people might like eventually.
I didn't know that.
Sean was there like rehearsing his lines out loud in a coffee shop in New Zealand.
Sean's cousins, and what are you doing? He says, I'm working on it's a jamboree. I think like he was expecting a banjo and something.
It's a jamboree, all featuring these halflings and orcs and such. Amazing. Well, you know, we've got a lot of fans out there, so you know, I'd love to turn to them and see what questions they have for you. So let's get started on this side. Yeah, everyone's sitting very politely, nicely down. Yeah, hey.
Hi, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the 9 tattoos. how that came to be, and maybe you could show us yours if it's.
Sean, go ahead. Let's talk about the tattoo.
9? I ain't got 9.
That's
You
what
got
it
to think
means.
that.
You got Jamboree tattooed.
Yeah, I got the wrong title. Sorry.
It is
Yeah.
an amazing story. Yeah, I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, I was surprised that they were in the room, but I know, yeah, the 9 fellowship.
We all want to know Sean Bean's story about the tattoo, so go on, Sean. Tell us about the tattoo.
Well, sure.
What, my tattoo?
Yeah.
The number 9 that's it.
Did Orlando ever have an experience with you where he wanted you to get a tattoo?
Yeah,
How'd you do
we were
it?
in New York, weren't we? And
Yeah.
Orlando took me to a tattoo parlor with someone. I don't know who it was.
It's early, it could have been anybody.
Yeah. And they just copied his onto my arm. Well, not his, I mean, they copied his from his wrist.
You know what it means?
Well, the tattoo?
Yeah.
Jamboree.
The Elvish for Jamboree, of course. So,
Yeah. 9.
9.
No.
You did
9.
Sean, I feel like Mr. Astin, I feel like
No,
someone
he
said
was the
about
only
this
one who
story.
wasn't there. That's when Vigo sorted out. It was Elijah's kind of championed the whole concept all through the filming of it, and I thought it would go away. But sure, towards the end, he and Vigo really were the spearheads of it, and Vigo got the tattoo shop in Wellington to open up on Sunday morning, right? Okay. So when we went there, John Rhys Davies, I wouldn't go behind an Englishman with a needle if you paid me $1 million, whatever. Like, are they all diseased? Is John saying that English people have? I don't understand. But anyway, so he didn't want to do it. So
That was an excellent John Rhys Davies, by the way. Yeah.
My board. Come for me, Irish man, otherwise known as 10,000 alcoholics clinging to a rock in the middle of the Irish Sea. So he didn't want to do it, but Brett, who was his stunt double, who spent an awful lot of time being Gimli, came that day to get to be the Gimli tattooed of the fellowship. There was one of the 9 who was not there, and so we waited for years to know whether or not Sean was going to ever do it, and I guess it took Orlando to do it. But it's the 9 members of the Fellowship of the Ring, and so we've got the Elven number 9 spelled out, N-I-N-E, at least that's what the guy says it is. Mine's on my ankle, so I'm not taking off my fancy shoe. His is too, and the reason I got mine on my ankle is because he got his on his ankle, because right?
Right? Because that film was a lot about feet. And I would get made in my ankle. Not thinking that we still had about 3 weeks of filming to go. So, we had a scab where, where they put the thing on. So then they're putting glue on it and sticking a foot on and peeling the scab off every night.
Yeah,
So that wasn't good thinking.
It's a makeup.
But he
makeup.
followed me anyway, but that's Sam, isn't it? He just followed me.
Sean, you said yours is up on your shoulder?
Yes.
Excellent. And was this, when you got yours, you were probably not, when you all got it together as a group, had this been after you've already wrapped on the production? Or were you just kind of back and forth at that time?
I didn't know they were all waiting. I thought.
Yeah, they're all waiting
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing.
Boromir is mercurial. So we didn't know. Does he want it? Will he not get it? The tattoo. I've spent a lot of my life thinking about, talking about, reflecting on, and having this tattoo. So this is the missing piece of a puzzle in my life.
Do you think I was trying to get out of it?
Maybe.
The 9 is such a good example of the camaraderie of the cast, though. You know what I mean? You guys were like filming for so long together. Any other interesting stories or fun stories, which I'm sure a lot of people want and love to hear about just the camaraderie on set? Everything from the early shoot days to even all the way to the end. I know everybody had a great send off, on their final wrap days, on their final shoot days. Any fun things you can share with us from any of you about fun sort of camaraderie stories on set?
My favorite thing is his least favorite thing.
What's that?
The helicopters.
Oh. Yeah, that's a funny old story. That I didn't realise there'd be a lot of helicopter work in this job, but I was just terrified. I was terrified of flying for a long, long time. And I think that flying over to New Zealand and back actually got me over it, but I didn't I didn't expect the helicopters over glaciers and with a glass-bottomed helicopter and turbulence and. All these guys are like, wow, yeah, and I think I'm taking rescue remedy and stuff like that, Scotch. But it was crazy, I don't know what, but yeah, and then I got stuck with Orlando in there.
That's rough.
Yeah, and then we got picked up in some kind of storm, we had to get to Queenstown, wasn't it?
I think I don't know the name of that mountain range when we got sort of evacuated off the top of it, right? Oh, evacuated, maybe a strong word. But we were moved briskly down there. And these tease me mercilessly.
The helicopter stuff is really funny. It did get to the stage, like, if it was Sean Bean who was in the helicopter, we were told to be quiet and stuff and just be like, yeah. And then if it was Sean Astin,
that's awful.
when the helicopters were coming in, he was getting them all into land as if he's like the helicopter guy. he's honestly dressed as Sam. Telling the pilots who have been flying at these ranges for, 30 years, he's like, hey, can you see there's a mountain? Can you see the mountain? And these old Kiwi guys are just like,
There's this one precipice where they had one skid of the helicopter land on it, the other, it's just floating there, and we're loading into it. So, and then there's another helicopter right behind it, ready to put its skid on that place, and they had gotten, okay. At a work site, you have those offices where the foremen will go into the little kind of portable office things. They flew one up there and loaded it with supplies in case weather came in so fast and we got stuck up there where nobody could get up to get us. We could live for up to 8 days with all of the rations and everything else that they had, and the propane and the sleeping gear, and it was all set there. That was the rule. It had to be up there. All of a sudden, they get this look in their eyes like, you know what, it's coming in, we actually can't film today, we're going to go back down. And everybody gets that, like, urgent look in their face. Well, we are loading into the choppers, right? And if you listen, he wasn't listening. If you listen to what they're saying to each other, it's that tone of voice that, a kid knows that they have to be quiet for a second. Not Billy and Dom and Elijah. You can hear it. I'm like, guys, shut up. They're like, I'm sure they know what they're doing. So then, throughout the course of the thing, you'd find in New Zealand or somewhere in the world a tourist helicopter would go down, and I'd be like, whatever.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we agree wholeheartedly now that Sean Astin is Samwise Gamgee? I mean, come on. Every Sam would take care of his team. It was Marion Pippin were goofing around, and Boromir, of course, dead serious the whole way. Amazing. Question on this side?
Sorry. This is kind of a silly question, but if you're watching TV, you see Lord of the Rings is on. Do you keep going, or do you stop and watch?
I just watched the first one.
Flashback at one point.
Do you guys like watching your work in general? I mean, not even past Lord of the Rings. Are you the type of actors that can watch something and get excited and like look at that, or you're like, oh my god, I can't. I need to remove myself.
It's not about me anymore. Now it's about my kids. And when Lord of the Rings came on in March, April, May last year, I was in Atlanta working on Stranger Things, and they wife and the two younger kids, Elizabeth and Bella, who are now 15 and 12, came, and we were all snuggled up in bed. We turned on the TV, no idea what we were going to watch, and TNT, boom, the beginning of Return of the King. And they never let me do anything. Honestly, I walk around my house like this bag person with no purpose, but I looked this way and I looked this way. Well, their purpose was to be in Atlanta because Dad was working. So they were out of their normal space for a minute. And they were about like, I was going to work the next day, and maybe they'd come to work, and now all of a sudden it's on TV. So Elizabeth said, well, maybe we could, I didn't ask. I just went, and Elizabeth said, well, maybe we could watch a little bit. And Bella, no, I don't want to. She says no about everything if I'm in it. No. And Christine is always busy with her hands doing something, just listening out and waiting to see where she's going to referee the situation. And it's clear that it's clear to her that I want to watch it with them. And Elizabeth is indicating maybe yes. So she sort of steers Bella into, well, Bella, maybe we could watch them like for 5 minutes. Maybe we could watch a little bit. No. So they're commercials. It's like 9-hour movie, and you add in commercials, it's like 6 months to watch a stupid show. So we're watching it, and the whole time I'm waiting to see if they like it. I want to see if they like what I'm doing. I want to see if they get the story. And the cool thing was when the commercials would come, Bella would come out of her shell a little bit and ask, what did it mean? Like, why did Warner die? He wasn't true. He redeemed himself. But so I would explain things, and I'm so happy at Dad getting to explain things. And they were thrilled when it would come back on because like, oh, you have to stop explaining it. It's on now. We're gonna watch. So, and at the end of it, they would watch through the whole thing. And at the end of it, Elizabeth was like, Dad, you're one of the main guys. Yeah, she goes, you're so good. Thank you.
Man. Oh my gosh, nothing better than that to hear as an actor and a father, right? You're one of the main guys.
That's it, the actor's gone, it's all father.
Yeah, amazing. Awesome. Hey.
Hi. What was your greatest struggle as an actor, and how did you get through it before you made it big? This is for all three.
Yeah, greatest struggle, whoever wants to take it before, getting that first big one.
I think my biggest struggle, was just making the decision to do it, I grew up in sort of working class Glasgow, and the thought of being an actor is just frowned upon. And like the school that I went to, we had like a guidance counsellor who was supposed to help you find what job you wanted to do. So when I had the meeting with him, and I said, I want to be an actor, he said, well, I wouldn't tell nobody else. He's just like, he was trying to help me. He was trying to save me getting beaten up, basically, by saying that in our school. So I think the hardest thing was actually making the decision, and it ended up, I worked in a printers and became a bookbinder and made books. And I made Lord of the Rings, and I made Master and Commander. I made all these books, but I got to about 24 and I thought, actually I want to be an actor. So I quit my job and I went to drama school. So I think the hardest thing was making the decision for myself that I wanted to do it.
Very nice, awesome, thank you. Yeah. Hey, seriously? That was a nice moment. My voice, I lowered my...
There is a deepness to me that I don't often show you.
I couldn't feel it. We kind of slipped this close together.
Yeah. Sean looks, just from looking at Sean, I think he's had a lot of difficult moments. So I just wonder which one he would pick to share.
Thank you. I'm glad I didn't say that. No.
Which difficult moments are you referring to? Is it about Astin? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess something
how
that
I started.
sticks out. You know what I mean?
I guess it was similar to you, Billy, in a way. It's, I came from a kind of working class background where it was all steelworks and the mining industry at the time. You were kind of frowned upon or laughed at, really, when you said you were going to be an actor. I remember my mum and dad went, what? I was just reading the newspaper going, what are you on about? And you know, they were very supportive after that. But it was it kept kind of. Yeah, and as I said, I wanted to draw and paint and stuff like that. So to tell you wants to be an actor was like really an unusual, strange thing to say, and because nobody really came from those backgrounds, and you know, acted. I don't think you would.
So same sort of thing, yeah. I can remember once being in an amateur play when I was a young boy, and the local paper came to take a picture of us to do the play, and I wouldn't go in the picture because I thought, if this is in the paper tomorrow, I'm going to get battered at school, you know. If they see that I'm doing a musical and something.
Yeah.
So that was probably the main difficulty.
Sean, conversely, how was it like being in a world of only actors? You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like those little wind-up toys, you know, like God and my parents wound me up and just kind of set me on the road. It was like, is he gonna keep going or what's he gonna do? You know, to me, there's just no failure's just not an option, and I don't even know what success is really. I mean, money, fame, doing things that feel good to you, creating value for other people, creating experience, telling stories, creating characters. Like I don't know, but whatever it is that I don't know, I knew with like a man on a mission. And so the hardest parts were just like realizing at every moment, like just continuing to bang away, like you know, talking to people, and I don't know, just hustling. I was like a hustler, you know. Not that kind of hustler. But actually, no, maybe a little bit like that kind of hustler. Actually, you know, just like my life was like this for 30 years. Boom, just moving all the time, moving all the time. And I think what was hard was not necessarily like a moment where you go, this was a kind of a defining moment where I realized, I mean, it's great guidance for people to hear. Like, if you make a decision in your own mind, that's the ballgame. But to me, it was like, oh, the endurance quality. You know, that when you're actually just physically tired, but your ability to keep doing what you want to do isn't certain yet. So you have to do the next, whatever it is.
Up there since she asked the question.
So that was what was hard, was just the remembering that this sort of sense of kind of destiny's too big, but just the sense of momentum was worth maintaining. I don't know if I'm probably not saying it very well.
Yeah, no, this is like a free acting workshop right now. This is amazing, guys. Thank you for sharing these sort of early tales with us. It's awesome. Hey, over here.
Thank you all for coming. My question's for Sean Bean. You mentioned that you read Lord of the Rings prior to filming the movie. So my question is, had you read A Game of Thrones prior to that role? And so with that, did you have any apprehension playing either character knowing their ultimate fate?
Wait, spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
I've not read, I tell you the truth, I've not read Game of Thrones because I didn't know it was based on a book. So I didn't know what happened to me. But I met with the directors and the producers, and they said, you're not going to be with us for very long. I said, oh, okay. But, you know, similarly with Lord of the Rings, I do remember Boromir dying. And, but I think I forgot by the time I got around to actually filming it. I didn't know what was happening, actually. I said, well, what's going on?
God, it's a big thing, actually. It's not going to go well, man.
Yeah.
Well, we say it's hard. I'm sure it's hard to compare those two moments, but they're both, my gosh, impactful moments. You know what I mean? Both of those characters, their deaths are so huge in the fantasy genre. Was there one that particularly stuck out to you? I know you said both were. You knew they were coming. You know, you were a little surprised.
Yeah, I think Lord of the Rings death I really enjoyed, because it was long. Tragic and heroic and slow motion, nice music going. Whereas Game of Thrones, it just, I was there and then that was it. They just said, must move out of the shot and put his false head in. So and that was it.
Although we don't technically know, it did cut to Arya's face, so there's some rumors around there.
I mean, I didn't have to do much for Game of Thrones death. I just put my head on the board and that was it. I just saw my big false head rolling down the steps. Whereas Lord of the Rings was much more physical and both good, like in their own ways.
Yeah, amazing. Hey.
Hello. I was wondering if there were any scenes or locations that still stand out to you from doing the trilogy. Like, what was your favorite location to film in?
Well, the helicopter pad for sure, right?
The helicopters were all over both islands, but Queenstown was really the place that I think we kind of came into our own. It's just this adventure capital of the world. And did you bungee jump?
No.
Did you go motorcycle riding?
No, I
Did you surf?
I was concentrating.
Were you doing any of the surfing? They gave us this list of things that we were like, listen, the insurance would really appreciate it if you don't bungee jump, surf, motorcycle ride, like there's a whole thing. And we were nervous, I would say, speaking on behalf of the cast, not to do that for the first like week or two, and then it became sort of a to-do list. Queenstown was my favorite.
Such an adventurous place. I mean, it had to be amazing to come into that area that hadn't seen that before, and for Peter Jackson to bring it to his home, you know, and transform in that. And now it's, my gosh, it's like, you know, New Zealand is being shot in all the time, and people come visit there, you know, just to see the locations where you shot at. I mean, it has to feel amazing and cool that it's lasted that long. And I mean, Billy, you and Dom, I mean, you do a lot of traveling still. I mean, are you still like the adventurous types that John reported you have to be back in the day?
Yeah, well, Dom had his own TV show where he went to see these kind of dangerous animals and Wild Things. Did you see it? Wild Things with Dominic Monaghan. It's great. It's a great show. And he travels all over the world trying to find the most poisonous snake and the biggest spider and all that. So he asked me if I would go to New Zealand with him. And there's virtually nothing dangerous in New Zealand. So I said, yeah, all right. So we were just looking for this giant weta, which is the biggest insect in the world. And it only lives in one island now, off of New Zealand. So we went there and we looked at other things, cave wetas, this big lizard that he wanted to go and see. But it was great because we got to travel New Zealand again, and we went to the Shire, where it's still the Shire now. They got rid of it after Lord of the Rings, and it's back after The Hobbit. And me and Dom said they do it really well actually, because they have it. It's beautiful, but they only let in 200 people at a time or something, and they're allowed to spend an hour, and they can go into the Hobbit holes, and you can go to the Green Dragon. And it's great how they do it. So me and Dom